Jim Nailon, liturgical guitarist, and this is my arrangement of Jesus Christ is Risen Today. And special thanks to Greg for asking about this arrangement. I've tried it for years and never came up with it, but one more try and I was able to solve the puzzle here. So I'm doing it in the key of G major. I'll just play through it slowly and then we'll talk about, I'll go through it step by step. So. That more or less. Okay, so and again, you can find this sheet music online for free through my website. That's in both notation and tablature. Liturgicalguitarist.com. Follow the link on the portal page to the Score Exchange website. Look under the Easter arrangements and you'll find it. You can print it out for free. If you download the little Scorch ActiveX program, you can even play it on the computer and change the tempos and play along with it with your computer. So, pretty straightforward, starting with the first measure. Right up a G chord and then C. From if you looked at any of my arrangements, and then a passage where you're playing in tenths with a drone G, measure 5, second line, and be sure to keep the G, the inner voice there, softer than what you're doing with the melody and the bass line. And then repeats that phrase. This is the hard part that I finally figured out. So, playing here in sixths with a drone D bass. Be sure to watch the fingering carefully, especially here. When you go up into this, you got to play this. Now this is a G chord. This G chord up here on the 7th fret looks like a D chord on the 2nd, so you slide it up D, E, F, G. And normally I play this with my 1st and 2nd and 3rd fingers like I do a D chord. But here you got to play it with the last 3 fingers because you're coming up off this 1st and 2nd fingers here, 2nd, 3rd, and this is back at measure 9. 1st, 2nd, 2nd, 3rd, and then 3rd and 4th. Put your 1st finger down, and then you drop into this G, and then 2nd and 3rd, and keep the 2nd and 3rd there. So to get the note on the 2nd string, you got to bring your little finger down, which isn't too hard since you've come up here like this, just putting the little finger down. And then you go into what's a D chord. So you just slide that 3rd finger down to the 7th fret, where and then hammer on the little finger on the 8th fret, and then put your 1st finger down on the 5th fret of the 1st string, and then in this part here, you're gonna you keep the little finger where it is, and slide your 2nd finger down to the 6th fret of the 3rd string, and play the open A bass, and then get your 3rd finger down on the 7th fret of the 4th string. And then your little finger is going to drop back to the 7th fret and then slide up. So you got to push down hard on that finger to get that slide to sound. Otherwise, if you don't push down hard, you won't get that. So that, starting with measure in the middle of that third line there, measure 9, 10, 11, it would be, and then you make a quick jump, shift, down from there down to a D chord. Fortunately, everybody should know a D chord, so you can grab that real quick. You can go from this to that super fast. So, and then the A7, and then D, and I'll come back to that and give you a shortcut if you have trouble with that shift. Let's finish going through the whole arrangement. Now I'll come back to that. And then you have the D, and then you go and you grab the F sharp bass, and then the D with an A over an A, measure 13. G, grab this quick G here, so you have your second finger on the third fret of the sixth string, and you've already got your third finger down there on the second fret of the second string, third fret of the second string. So you just put your little finger next to that on the third fret and drop the second finger over to the third fret of the sixth string, and open notes, and then to a C chord. Now we're going to go back to that same quick G. First finger, little finger, third finger's right where it needs to be. Then bring your second finger to a C bass. So you're playing a C chord here, but you're not going to play the whole chord. Because we're not going to play this, we're playing nothing on the second string. The C bass and 2 open strings, and you hammer on. You can pick it if you want, but you can hammer on that note with your first finger onto the second fret of the first string, and then your third finger is going to play the third fret of the first string, and you're going to do that slide. And when you do that slide, you have to let go of the C bass. Even though it's written, the C bass is written a half note, it's really a dotted half. So and then you drop back from that into a D sus4, D, and then that same simple G, because I kind of like that open, more Renaissance flavor to the chord than that with the third. So that's the arrangement. Now let's drop back to the end of the second line there, and you're coming off this measure 11, half at the midpoint of that second line. You're coming off this phrase, which is one of the harder things in the piece, and you can't make that shift fast enough, then don't. Just when you're down here with the little finger, instead of sliding the little finger up to the 1 fret to get that, just play the open first string, and that'll give you an 8th note of time to get down to that D, and nobody's going to miss that. There's no big difference between or you're just fudging on the melody a little bit, but if it is a deal breaker for you playing the piece, then by all means, take that little melodic, what's the right word? I can't think of it. Melodic privilege there, and alter the melody to make it playable. I do that in my arrangements all the time. Okay, now so that takes you through playing the piece. Now it can go faster than I played it. It can go about. That's about the tempo you'd sing it. And so forth. Now, I'm going to talk about how you would use this on Easter. If you like singing it in the key that it's written, which is in the key of C major, which requires your congregation and you to hit a high E, which on a early Easter morning can be a challenge, and for a baritone like me that's losing his upper range, it's an impossibility. then I will show you how to do it for the lower voices in a moment. But let's say you want to do it in the original key. So just before it's time to announce the hymn, you're playing it, and you're playing it as a prelude, maybe your last prelude before you go into the opening song, when the priest is just ready to, you got about 2 minutes left before he's going to give you the high sign to start into announcing the opening hymn. So you would finish it up. I might do something like this. I might just vamp on this. Good morning. Please stand and join in our opening hymn. Number 162 in the Breaking Bread. No, 161. Jesus Christ is risen today. Number 161. And then I would modulate from the G to a G7 and then start into the intro. Now the piece is a Bearcat in the key of C, but the first line is not. It's pretty easy. And then you're often singing, Jesus Christ is risen today. Okay, of course you would play it faster than that. But so in the key of C, you can figure out the melody. The melody's running on the second. And then first string, so those are those, and then go to an F, and then I use my little finger, just a short F chord here, and I put it down on the 3rd fret, and then I slide into this little cheater F chord that I use all the time in my arrangements. A true F chord like this should be played like that, but I can't get there fast. Maybe you can, but I can't. So I never worked on that one, never got good at just grabbing that chord quickly. Then back to the C, and then back to the F, C, G, C, and you're ready to sing. Then you play the song in the key of C. But let's say you want to do your congregation and yourself a favor. You can't hit that E early in the morning on Easter. So I would play it, maybe if you play it on the 3rd fret, then I think, no, G. So you're coming on. So the highest note you have to hit is a D. So playing it in G on the 3rd fret puts it in what? The key of B flat. So your low note is going to be a B flat. Jesus Christ. So your range is from B flat to an E flat. You could even drop it down to the 2nd fret, and then your range goes down to from an A to no. First was a B flat to a D. Now it's an A to a C sharp. So either one of those options, and then you don't have to modulate. You can just do your intro. Join in our song, and you're off and running. Jesus Christ is risen today. So that's my advice on how to use that Easter morning. Have a blessed Easter. God bless.